I had spent 4 years in Asia when I was very young. I traveled a lot, and most of the theater work and things that I had done, Shakespeare or whatever, were very far from my own suburbia, you know, far from where I grew up in Newton, Massachusetts, which is like the Brookline of Lucy. She's from Brookline, Mass. And I was probably, if you know the scene where she says, "It won't be long, yeah, yeah," and there's a little girl with blonde braids, that's me, although I never was blonde. And I watched my older brother and sister at the end of the 50s, beginning of the 60s. I watched them transform. My sister became the head of SDS, which in the movie is the SDR, the Students for Democratic Republic in the film, Students for Democratic Society. She became very politically active. Her husband at the time was a radical and had built Molotov cocktails, and you know, it was a really scary time. My brother, older than my sister, he was a dropout. You know, he went to Johns Hopkins and he dropped out of college a couple of times. He was very smart, but you know, the acid, the times, he became a musician and then a cab driver, and that's Max. And he also was they were at the beginning of the drug thing as well. And my parents, who were wonderful, they didn't know what hit them. And so they were at the beginning, and with all their friends, they were, what did we do wrong? But it wasn't what they did wrong, it was the times. And there was this extraordinary, and I became the go-between and was quiet. I was the silent observer. So you know, watching my parents go through hell and watching their friends and the Vietnam War, and my brother enlisted very young. The line Max says, "I'll just join the army and fight," what did he say, box and learn and play chess.
Yeah.
I got that from my brother. I said, "Why did you enlist?" He said, "Oh, I thought it would be." So there were some lines when we were working on the script that really were very personal to my family. And I lived in New York during a lot of that time, even though I was very young. I think, I was in the Bread and Puppet Theater. So you know Mr. Kite and all of those big puppet stuff?
Oh my gosh, those blue
I went
guys.
to Vermont, and I was in one of those Vietnamese ladies, you know. So I built puppets. Peter Schumann, the head of that, was a mentor to me, and I asked him if I could. A lot of the puppets are my design, the Blue Meanies or whatever, but the Bread and Puppet stuff is very close, and really for me, it was an honor to be able to recreate his puppets of that era. The giant Vietnamese ladies and LBJs and all that would march down, you know, do the marches here and in Washington and everywhere else. So I was very young. You know, I was probably 12 during all of this, around 12, but I then lived it through my older brother and sister and the other teenagers and college students of the time.